For a few days, Miss Rottenmeier had been walking around the house quietly. When she went from room to room or down the halls, she often looked behind her, as if she thought someone was following her. If she needed to go upstairs to the fancy guest rooms or downstairs to the big ballroom, she always asked Tinette to go with her. Strangely, none of the servants wanted to go anywhere alone. They always found reasons to go together, and nobody refused. The cook, who had worked in the house for many years, often shook her head and said quietly, "Every morning when the servants came downstairs, the front door was wide open. At first everyone thought the house had been robbed, but nothing was missing. This kept happening every morning, even though the door had two locks." Finally, John and Sebastian decided to be brave and watch during the night to see who the ghost was. They took some drinks and went to a room downstairs. At first they talked, but then they got sleepy and leaned back in their chairs quietly. When the church tower clock struck 1, Sebastian woke up and tried to wake John, which was not easy. At last, John woke up fully, and they went into the hallway together. At that moment, a strong wind blew out the light in John's hand. He ran back quickly and almost knocked down Sebastian, who was behind him. Then he pulled Sebastian into the room and locked the door in a hurry. When they lit the light again, Sebastian saw that John was very pale and shaking. Sebastian, who hadn't seen anything, asked nervously, "What's wrong?" "It went up and disappeared in a second," John said, shaking. Cold fear ran down Sebastian's back. They sat still until morning. Then they closed the door and went upstairs to tell the housekeeper what happened. The housekeeper had been waiting and listened carefully. She immediately sat down to write a letter to Mr. Sessman. She wrote that she was so scared her hands could barely move, and that terrible things were happening in the house. She also described the ghost. Sessman wrote back saying he was busy and couldn't come. He suggested she invite his mother, Mrs. Sessman, who would know how to deal with the ghost. Miss Rottenmeier didn't like his reply because it didn't sound serious. Mrs. Sessman also replied that she couldn't come. So the housekeeper decided to tell the children about the ghost. Clara was very scared after hearing the story. She said she didn't want to stay alone and wanted her father to return. The housekeeper agreed to sleep in Clara's room. Heidi wasn't afraid at all because she didn't know what ghosts were. Another letter was sent to Mr. Recopular Sessman, saying the fear might be bad for Clara's weak health and listing many problems that could happen if he didn't come and stop the ghost. This made Mr. Sessman return. After arriving, he went straight to his daughter's room and was very happy to see that she looked well. Clara was also happy to see her father. Sessman asked with a small smile, "This is not a joke, Mr. Sessman," said Miss Rottenmeier seriously. "I believe something terrible happened in this house long ago." "That's news to me," said Mr. "But please don't blame my old family members." "Call Sebastian. I want to talk to him alone." Mr. Sessman knew that Miss Rottenmeier and Sebastian did not get along. So he said to the butler, "Come here, Sebastian. Tell me the truth. Have you been pretending to be a ghost to scare Miss Rottenmeier?" "No." "Upon my word, master, you must not think that," Sebastian said honestly. "I don't like it very much myself." "Well, then I will show you and John what ghosts look like during the day. You should be ashamed of yourselves, strong young men like you. Now go at once to my old friend, Dr. Classen, and tell him to come to me at 9 o'clock tonight. Tell him I came from Paris, especially to see him, and that I want him to stay up all night with me. Do you understand, Sebastian?" "Yes, indeed. I will do as you say, Mr. Sessman went upstairs to calm and comfort Clara. At exactly 9 o'clock the doctor arrived. Though his hair was gray, his face looked fresh, and his eyes were lively and kind. When he saw his friend, he laughed loudly and said, "Well, well, You look quite healthy for someone who needs to be watched all night. Be patient, my old friend, Mr. Sesamon replied. I'm afraid the person we need to watch will look worse, but first we must catch him. What? Is someone sick in this house? What do you mean? Much worse, doctor, much worse. There is a ghost in the house. My house is haunted. When the doctor laughed, Mr. Jar Sesamon continued. That is sympathy. I wish my friend Miss Rottenmeier could hear you. She is sure that an old Sesamon ghost is walking around. Sesamon then explained. He said it was either a bad joke by a servant's acquaintance while he was away, or a gang of thieves who wanted to scare people and then rob the house. With these explanations, they entered the room where the two servants had kept watch before. A few bottles of wine stood on the table, and two bright candlesticks gave strong light. Two revolvers were ready in case of emergency. They left the door partly open because too much light might scare the ghost away. Sitting down comfortably, the two men passed the time by talking and taking sips now and then. The ghost seems to have seen us and probably won't come today, said the doctor. We must be patient. They talked until 1 o'clock. Everything was quiet, and no sound came from the street. Suddenly, the doctor raised his finger. The key turned, and the door flew open. Sesamon grabbed his revolver. You are not afraid, I hope, said the doctor, standing up. Better be careful, whispered Mr. Sesamon, holding the candlestick in his other hand. The doctor followed with his revolver and light, and they went into the hall. On the threshold stood a motionless white figure, lit by the moon. Who is there? Shouted the doctor, moving closer. The figure turned and gave a low scream. It was Heidi, barefoot and in her white nightgown, looking confused at the bright light and weapons. She was shaking with fear, and the two men looked at her in surprise. Sesamon, this seems to be your little water carrier, said the doctor. Child, what does this mean? Asked Mr. Sesamon. What did you want to do? Why have you come down here? Pale with fright, Heidi said. I don't know. The doctor came forward. Sesamon, this case is for me. Please sit down while I take her to bed. Putting his revolver aside, he led the trembling child upstairs. Don't be afraid, just be quiet. Everything is all right, don't be scared. When they reached Heidi's room, the doctor put her to bed and covered her carefully. He pulled a chair close to the bed and waited until Heidi stopped trembling and calmed down. Then, holding her hand kindly, he said, Now everything is all right again. Tell me, where did you want to go? I didn't want to go anywhere, Heidi said. I didn't go myself. I was there all of a sudden. Really? I always think I am with my grandfather again, and I can hear the fir trees roar. I think about how beautiful the stars must be. Then I open the door of the hut, and oh, it is so wonderful. But when I wake up, I am always in Frankfurt. Heidi had to fight back sobs in her throat. Does your back or head hurt? No, but it feels like a big stone is pressing here. But as if I wanted to cry very hard. So, then you cry out, don't you? Oh no, I must never do that, because Miss Rottenmeier has forbidden it. Do you like it here? Oh yes, came the weak, uncertain answer. Where did you live with your grandfather? Up on the Alp. But wasn't it lonely there? Oh no, it was so beautiful. But Heidi could say no more. The memories, the excitement of the night, and all the held-back sorrow overwhelmed the child. Tears ran fast from her eyes, and she broke into loud sobs. The doctor stood up and, soothing her, said, It won't hurt to cry, then you will sleep, and when you wake up everything will be better. Then he left the room. Joining his worried friend downstairs, he said, Sesamon, The little girl is a sleepwalker and has unknowingly scared your whole household. Also, she is so homesick that her little body has become weak. We must act quickly. The only cure is to send her back to her mountain air. This is my prescription. She must go tomorrow. Sick, a sleepwalker, and weak in my house. No one noticed. You think I should send this child back in this state after she arrived healthy? No, doctor, ask for anything but that. Take care of her and give her medicine, but don't send her back yet. Sesamon, the doctor said seriously, think about what you are doing. We cannot cure her with powders and pills. She has a weak body, and if she stays here, she might never get well. If we send her back to the fresh mountain air she is used to, she will probably get better. When Mr. Sesamon heard this, he said, if that is your advice. Sesamon took his friend's arm, and they walked around talking about the matter. When everything was decided, the doctor left because morning had come, and the sun was shining through the door.